Coaching carousel is obviously a big topic in a lot of places that I didn't just cover talking about the playoff picture. So I want to give you guys a quick rundown of where everything is at. Obviously, the Jets have begun their interview process. They've interviewed Ron Rivera. Mike Vrabel's there today. Vrabel got the blessing of the Browns to go and look for jobs a week early. They tweaked his contract a few weeks ago to create an earlier end date that would allow for him to do this. I think there was a great relationship there between the Browns and Vrabel. It's reflected in having that agreement at the very end to take care of Vrabel and let him get a head start. So he's with the Jets today. They've interviewed a number of GM candidates as well: John Robinson, Thomas Dimitroff, Jim Nagy. Their process will continue. I think they're as much of a blank slate as any team is going to be. They brought in Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman from the outside, and I think the way they're going to handle this going forward, they're going to interview GM candidates. They're going to interview head coaching candidates. They're going to find whoever they think is best, and they're going to build around that person. So if it's a GM, that GM will help pick the head coach. If it's a head coach, that head coach will help pick the GM. I think that's what they offer the next person. I think they're at the point now where they're going to give that person the chance to build it out the way he sees fit. Then you have the Saints already out there. The Saints, again, the word on the street is they're going to lean towards experience. Connections in the building will help. Two names that really stand out in that regard. Aaron Glenn, who coached there and knows everyone in the building, or most of the people in the building, still really well. And then Mike McCarthy, whose contract is up with the Cowboys, and I think could wind up being a candidate there. Joe Brady's a younger guy, less experienced, who has connections in the building. I think Vrabel is somebody they'd want to talk to as well. You hear Vrabel's name a lot. I will say it again in the Bears situation. We've been over this a million times now. The Bears do have a list of candidates, and they're still going through their vetting process. They put Ryan Poles in the position to run point in the search. Obviously, Kevin Warren and the McCaskies are going to have a say in the way this goes. I would put Vrabel in that leader of men category, which is sort of where they started their process. Aaron Glenn is in that category as well for them. I think as they've gone along, as the season's played out, I think it's clear if it's not a quarterback's guy who's getting the job, that they're going to want somebody who has a clear plan for the quarterback. Some guys that have connections already there: Brian Flores, college teammate of Ryan Poles. He obviously works in Minnesota, and that's a place Kevin Warren spent 15 years. And the reviews they've gotten back from the Vikings on Flores have been really good. Flores, of course, is going to have a quarterback plan. Cliff Kingsbury's another one connected to the quarterback there. He and Caleb Williams went through their ups and downs in 2023 at USC. It was a tough year for Williams, but they came out the other side of it with a pretty solid relationship. I think Cliff's going to be picky about his next landing spot. But my feeling is that the Bears would be one that he would take a hard look at. I think at least interview there. Ben Johnson's a name that's been I discussed a ton in Chicago. I think this was a year ago. We would be talking about Ben really maybe being the guy there. I think some of the experiences that Ben Johnson's been through the last couple of years have informed him in his process. So I don't think it's a slam dunk that he would just wind up going there. I think he'll take the interview, but I think he's going to be looking for alignment with the general manager, Ryan Poles. Jeff King is a guy who works there. I know he's got a relationship with. And then does ownership see its mistakes and are they willing to fix their mistakes? And then, I think Thomas Brown will get a look. Obviously hasn't looked good the last few weeks, but they respect what he was up against there. So that's the Bears. Those are the three that are open. The Jacksonville job, I think, will come open. The Jaguars have been very quiet. They haven't been sniffing around or doing much investigating or talking to many of the people that are involved in these things. But I do expect change there. And, I think in all likelihood, sweeping change, where they'll be looking for a general manager. They'll be looking for a new head coach. That could wind up being the Ben Johnson team. Dallas is another one. Again, I think if McCarthy had more term on his deal, there's a good chance they bring him back. He's up. His entire coaching staff is up. They'd have to draw up new contracts for everybody. They're another team I think Vrabel could be a candidate for if they have an opening. I think this one Vrabel would have an interest in. The Raiders. Again, what happens with Antonio Pierce, we'll see. Could it be a full reboot? We'll see. What's Tom Brady's voice there? yeah, we'll see. I don't think Brady's going to be a day-to-day guy at this point in the building, but Mark Davis will listen to him. And I think the Brady connection does put Vrabel in play there. That's one connection we've heard made quite a bit. And then a couple that I think are still up in the air: the Giants, the Patriots. The Giants, I would say, a lot's going to depend on the plan that Joe Shane and Brian Daboll present to John Mara for a way out of this. And their plan for the quarterback position. I don't think Mara wants to make changes, but this is the position that he's been put in, where it hasn't looked good all year. The stadium has been dead for a month or two now. You've got all the outside noise that comes with being in New York. So think, like they're going to be looking at a detailed plan. They could be another Vrabel team. And of course, New England could be too. Vrabel is going to be a popular name out there over the next couple of weeks. I think the Patriots, again, like the Maras, do not want to walk away from Gerard Mayo after a year, but it's looked really bad. And they've had a couple of really tough afternoons against the Chargers and Cardinals over the last few weeks that I think have raised some bigger questions there. I think, for Mayo, he's going to be judged on, are his players still playing hard for him? Do you see his ability to manage a staff? And has he built a program where you can see that light at the end of the tunnel? I think those are the questions that the Crafts are going to be asking themselves over the next few days as we lead into decision time, which for all of these teams is early next week, which we'll keep you posted on all of that, of course.